Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhare Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhare Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadramai Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्रील प्रभुपाद की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिके कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangrahe Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahamadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamame Hari Priye Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Welcome you all this morning class on Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta. Today is Ekadashi. Which para? Yeah. So, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta, Volume 1, chapter name is The Dream Come True. In June, Bhaktivedanta Swami got the opportunities to meet Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri. Sorry? The mark is here only. Let us continue with this. In June, Bhaktivedanta Swami got the opportunities to meet Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri. The meeting had been arranged by Doladram Khanna, a wealthy jeweler who was a trustee of the Chippiwada temple and had often met with Bhaktivedanta Swami there. An old friend of Prime Minister Shastri's since his youth. When they had attended the same yoga club, Mr. Khanna arranged the meeting as a favor to Bhaktivedanta Swami. Let the Prime Minister meet a genuine sadhu, Mr. Khanna thought. It was a formal occasion in the gardens of the Parliament building, and the Prime Minister was meeting a number of guests. Prime Minister Shastri, dressed in white kurta and dhoti and a Nehru hat and surrounded by aides, received the elderly sadhu, Bhaktivedanta Swami, looking scholarly in his spectacles, stepped forward and introduced himself and his book, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. As he handed the Prime Minister a copy of Volume 1, a photographer snapped a photo of the author and the Prime Minister smiling over the book. The next day, Bhaktivedanta Swami wrote to Prime Minister Shastri. He soon received a reply, personally signed by the Prime Minister. Dear Swamiji, many thanks for your letter. I am indeed grateful to you for presenting a copy of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to me. I do realize that you are doing valuable work. It would be a good idea if the libraries in the government institutions purchase copies of this book. Bhaktivedanta Swami wrote back to the Prime Minister requesting him to buy books for Indian institutions. Mr. R.K. Sharma of the Ministry of Education subsequently wrote back confirming that they would take 50 copies of Volume 2 just as they had taken Volume 1. So the then Prime Minister, Lal Bahadur Shastri, he appreciated Srila Prabhupada's work, and even though he was Prime Minister, he took time to reply a letter to Srila Prabhupada. So that is very unique, very special. Prime Minister will be getting so many letters, so many mails, so many letters, but replying to that is something very special. So Prabhupada's letter, the Prime Minister had replied for it. To concentrate on completing Volume 3, Bhaktivedanta Swami returned to the Radha Damodara temple. These were the last chapters of the first canto, dealing with the advent of the present age of Kali. There were many verses foretelling society's degradation and narrating how the great king Pariksit had staved off Kali's influence by his strong Krishna conscious rule. In his purports, Bhaktivedanta Swami wrote that government could not check corruption unless it rooted out the 4 basic principles of irreligion: meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. You cannot check all these evils of society simply by statutory acts of police vigilance, but you have to cure the disease of mind by the proper medicine, namely advocating the principles of Brahminical culture or the principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. We must always remember that false pride, undue attachment for women or association with them, and intoxicating habit of all description will cripple the human civilization from the path of factual peace. However, the people may go on clamoring for such peace of the world. To raise funds for Volume 3, Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to try Bombay. He travelled there in July and stayed at the Prem Kutir Dharmshala, a free ashrama. So in the first canto, final chapters, there is a description of Kali and how Pariksit Maharaj received the personality of Kali, how he punished. So there the symptoms of Kali are mentioned. And Prabhupada is going to complete that section, which is going to become Volume 3. As you know, Prabhupada wrote first canto in how many volumes? 3 volumes. Then Prabhupada is making one statement here that the evil things in the society, it cannot be removed completely just by police vigilance. Now you see there are so many police stations, so many courts are there, police stations are there, but the crime is increasing. Crime is increasing. So just by having a police, you cannot stop crime. How to stop the crime? How to stop the evil things? You have to cure the disease of mind by the proper medicine, namely advocating the principles of Brahminical culture or the principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy and truthfulness. So this is the way that we can establish peace in the society, cure the diseased mind. And that is preaching Krishna consciousness and the principles of Krishna consciousness. This will help to bring society into a peaceful situation. Srila Prabhupada, at Prem Kutir they received me very nicely. I was going to sell my books. Some of them were criticizing. What kind of sannyasi? He is making business, book selling? Not the authorities said this, but some of them. I was writing my book then also. So Prabhupada went to Bombay to raise funds for his third volume printing. And some unknown people were making some comments. What kind of Swami who is making business out of selling books? But Prabhupada didn't stop. Because he knows what he is doing as per the instruction of his Guru to write books. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Then I became a guest for 15 days. So Prabhupada, where Prabhupada was staying in Bombay? Where? Prem Kutir Dharamshala, a free ashrama. Now though we see in Oyo and all these online things, where I will get a room, all these things we say. But those days Prabhupada was traveling just like that. Imagine how much struggle Prabhupada had gone through. Then I became a guest for 15 days with a member of the Dalmia family. One of the brothers told me that he wanted to construct a little cottage at his house. You can live here, I will give you a nice cottage. I thought, no, it is not good to be fully dependent and patronized by a Vishayi, materialist. But I stayed for 15 days and he gave me exclusive use of a typewriter for writing my books. So this person got so much mercy of Prabhupada that he gave a typewriter for writing books of Srila Prabhupada, the transcendental books. And Prabhupada is very clear in accepting money or accepting facility from outside people. Just see, very clear he is. It is not good to be fully dependent and patronized by a Vishayi materialist. And it's very important we should learn this. Very important. We should not be dependent on someone. And we should not be patronized by a materialistic person. Sometimes there are some well-wishers, there are some donors who help in making a temple or who help in preaching. And then they have their demands. Some of them. And you have to surrender to that because you are dependent on them. Once Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, "You cannot purchase me with your money," to one of the disciples. You cannot purchase Guru with money. So therefore, we are not beggars, we are givers. We are giving an opportunity to the people to do some service to Krishna. That should be our consciousness. And Krishna will take care. Without compromising on the principles of devotional service, we have to preach. Bhaktivedanta Swami made his rounds of the institutions and booksellers in Bombay. He now had an advertisement showing himself with Prime Minister Shastri. And he also had the Prime Minister's letter and the Ministry of Education's purchase order for 50 volumes. Still, he was getting only small orders. Then he decided to visit Sumati Morarji, head of the Scindia Steamship Company. He had heard from his godbrothers in Bombay that she was known for helping sadhus and had donated to the Bombay Gaudiya Math. He had never met her, but he will remember but he well remembered the 1958 promise by one of her officers to arrange half-fare passage for him to America. Now he wanted her help for printing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Prabhupada is not getting orders to print books. And he is trying. And he came to know about Sumati Morarji. And he wanted to meet her and take her help in printing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. But his first attempts to arrange a meeting were unsuccessful. Frustrated at being put off by Mrs. Morarji's officers, he sat down on the front steps of her office building, determined to catch her attention as she left for the day. Just imagine, Prabhupada is sitting outside the office on the steps down, waiting for an appointment with her, to meet her. An Acharya, Jagat Guru. How much humble Prabhupada is to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya, to follow the instructions of his Guru. He is ready to accept any humble position. The lone sadhu certainly caused some attention as he sat quietly chanting for 5 hours on the steps of the Scindia Steamship Company building. 5 hours Prabhupada sat. Uday Prabhu, how many hours you sit? 1 hour, 2 hours? Half an hour. This is Prabhupada's mercy. Prabhupada's mercy that half an hour you get a meeting, appointment. You can go inside. But how much struggle Prabhupada went through to get an appointment, you say. Finally, late that afternoon, Mrs. Morarji emerged in a flurry of business talk with her secretary, Mr. Choksi. Upon seeing Bhaktivedanta Swami, she stopped. "Who is this gentleman sitting here?" she asked Mr. Choksi. "He has been here for 5 hours, the secretary said. "All right, I will come," she said, and walked up to where Bhaktivedanta Swami was sitting. He smiled and stood offering namaskaras with his folded palms. "Swamiji, what can I do for you?" she said. Bhaktivedanta Swami told her, briefly of his intentions to print the third volume of his Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I want you to help me, he said. All right, Mrs. Moraji replied, we can meet tomorrow because it is getting late. Tomorrow you can come and we will discuss. The next day, Bhaktivedanta Swami met with Mrs. Moraji in her office, where she looked at the typed manuscript and the published volumes. All right, she said, if you want to print it, I will give you the aid. Whatever you want, you can get it printed. With Mrs. Moraji's guarantee, Bhaktivedanta Swami was free to return to Vrindavana and finish writing the manuscript. As with the previous volumes, he set a demanding schedule for writing and publishing. The third volume would complete the first canto. Then, with a supply of impressive literature, he would be ready to go to the West. Even with volumes 1 and 2, he was getting a better reception in India. Already he had seen the Vice President and Prime Minister. He had successfully approached a big business magnate of Bombay, and within a few minutes of presenting the book, he had received a large donation. The books were powerful preaching. Janmashtami was drawing near, and Bhaktivedanta Swami was planning a celebration at the Radha Damodar temple. He wanted to invite Biswanath Das, the governor of Uttar Pradesh, to preside over the ceremony honoring Lord Krishna's appearance. Sri Vishwanath had received a copy of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, volume 1, and had written a favorable review. Although a politician, he was known for his affection and respect for sadhus. He regularly invited recognized sadhus to his home, and once a year he would visit all the important temples of Mathura and Vrindavan. Bhaktivedanta Swami asked Vrindavan's municipal president, Mangalal Sharma, to invite the governor to the Janmashtami celebration at Radha Damodar temple. The governor readily accepted the invitation. So Prabhupada would always think big. Prabhupada would always think big. Prabhupada is inviting the governor of Uttar Pradesh, the topmost man in the state, and he met the Prime Minister, the topmost man in the country. Prabhupada once said, my only problem is that I cannot think small. He says that. My only problem is I cannot think small. I can only think big. Bhaktivedanta Swami printed a flyer announcing, on the occasion of Janmashtami ceremony at the Samadhi ground of Srila Rupa and Jiva Goswami, Sri Sri Radha Damodar temple, Seva Kunj Vrindavan, Gaudiya Kirtan performances in the presence of His Excellency Sri Vishwanath Das, Governor of Uttar Pradesh, and the chief guest Sri G.D. Somani of Bombay, trustee of Sri Ranganathji Temple, Vrindavan, dated at Vrindavan, Sunday 31st August 1964, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. So a very beautiful flyer has been made by Prabhupada to distribute to the people, so that the people come. We also make pamphlets, we give to all those people who come to the temple. Actually, those days when Prabhupada was preaching, the devotees would give all these cards, letters, flyers. Because of that, so many people, they got connected. So many devotees got connected like that. Just by seeing card. It is written, Hare Krishna temple, join for every Sunday feast program. prasadam, and they would come. And the address of the temple. Many people became devotees seeing that card coming to the temple. I think once Bhima Prabhu was also saying that once that he is having that card with him, and one day he opened and he thought, let me go and see. And that's how he joined full time. So flyers are a very good way of promotion. The flyer contained an advertisement for the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam series to be completed in 60 volumes. Bhajans to be sung on the occasion, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Nitai Padakamala, the prayers to the 6 Goswamis and other favorite songs of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas were printed in Bengali as a song book. Even Prabhupada is writing which songs will be sung in the program. The program was successful. A large crowd attended and sang songs to Lord Krishna and took prasadam. Bhaktivedanta Swami lectured on a verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam describing the age of Kali as an ocean of faults that had but one saving quality, the chanting of the Hare Krishna. So it is said in the Kali Yuga, which is like ocean of faults. Sometimes we try to point out, he is doing fault. He is doing fault. There is nothing to worry when you hear such things, because Kali Yuga is ocean of faults. Wherever you see, there are only faults. Within all these faults, you should see the good quality that he is chanting Hare Krishna sincerely. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the deliverer of the fallen souls, right? But not hypocritic souls. But not cheaters. He is a deliverer of fallen. You are fallen, you accept, you live, be sincere. But not hypocrite. That's why he told Chota Haridas he gave up Chota Haridas, right? Because of that. And that is also just a thought in his mind. After leading Hare Krishna Kirtan, Bhaktivedanta Swami presented a copy of his second volume of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to the governor and spoke of his plans to preach all over the world. The day after Janmashtami was Bhaktivedanta Swami's 69th birthday. That means this is 1964. 69th birthday. The day after Janmashtami was Bhaktivedanta Swami's 69th birthday. A few days later, Vishwanath Das requested Swami Maharaj to visit him at his mansion in Lucknow. It was a special occasion and the governor had invited several sadhus and planned a kirtan program. This is amazing. Governor is inviting all the sadhus to do a kirtan program at his house. I think Radhakant Prabhu should try that in Telangana. He had invited a professional musical group who toured India performing kirtanas and giving recitals. One of the musicians, young Shishir Kumar Bhattacharya, was very impressed with Bhaktivedanta Swami. Shishir Bhattacharya: we were invited to perform kirtan in the governor's house in Lucknow. We had about 7 or 8 in our group. This was the governor's house, a big home, and I was sitting on a dais. I saw the governor Vishwanath Das, and beside him was a sadhu who was old but I thought was really strong. When I saw the governor sitting there, I came down from the dais and bowed down. Then I asked which subject he wanted to listen to. He said, let's have something about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then I said, I'm very glad you selected this. About 1.5 hour we spent on Mahaprabhu's Kirtana, and then we had our dinner in the big banquet hall on all silver plates with the governor's symbols on each of them. We sat together and I was sitting side by side with the same sadhu, and he introduced himself as Bhaktivedanta Swami. We discussed, and then the Swami presented me with a book, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Bhaktivedanta Swami said, I am interested to propagate Krishna Nam and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Western countries. I am trying to get some way to find some ticket. If I get, I will go, and I will propagate Mahaprabhu's teachings. And he uttered this verse from Mahaprabhu. Prithivite achayata nagara dikrama sarvatra prachara haibe mora nama. But I did not think he would actually be able to do it because he was very simple and poor. With the manuscript for volume 3 complete and with the money to print it, Bhaktivedanta Swami once again entered the printing world, purchasing paper, correcting proofs, and keeping the printer on schedule so that the book would be finished by January 1965. Thus, by his persistence, he who had almost no money of his own managed to publish his third large hardbound volume within a little more than 2 years. At this rate, with his respect in the scholarly world increasing, he might soon become a recognized figure among his countrymen. But he had his vision set on the West. And with the third volume now printed, he felt he was at last prepared. Actually, Prabhupada is preparing these 3 volumes of the first canto so that he can take these books to America and start preaching there. Because without books, how you will preach? So he needs books. Therefore, he is prepared. Now he is fully prepared. He was 69 and would have to go soon. It had been more than 40 years since Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had first asked a young householder in Calcutta to preach Krishna consciousness in the West. The Guru told 40 years back to preach Krishna consciousness in the West. And still Prabhupada is remembering that, and now he is going to fulfill that. Our situation, we forget what we hear 4 hours back only. Now, see, Prabhupada 40 years back he heard, and all the 40 years he is preparing to fulfill the desire of his spiritual master. At first, it had seemed impossible to Abhay Charan, who had so recently entered family responsibilities. That obstacle, however, had long ago been removed, and for more than 10 years, he had been free to travel. You know that story, Prabhupada's wife, she was drinking tea every day, and Prabhupada tried to explain her, she was not giving up her tea. And Prabhupada said, you want tea or you are me? You want tea or you want me? She said, I want only tea. Then, okay, bye, tata, sannyas. That obstacle, however, had long ago been removed, and for more than 10 years he had been free to travel. But he had been penniless and still was, and he had wanted first to publish some volumes of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to take with him. It had seemed necessary if he were to do something solid. Now, by Krishna's grace, 3 volumes were on hand. Srila Prabhupada. I planned that I must go to America. Generally, they go to London, but I did not want to go to London. I was simply thinking how to go to New York. I was scheming whether I shall go this way through Tokyo, Japan, or that way. Which way is cheaper? That was my proposal. And I was targeting to New York always. Sometimes I was dreaming that I have come to New York. Then Bhaktivedanta Swami met Mr. Agarwal, a Mathura businessman, and mentioned to him in passing, as he did to almost everyone he met, that he wanted to go to the West. Although Mr. Agarwal had known Bhaktivedanta Swami for only a few minutes, he volunteered to try to get him a sponsor in America. It was something Mr. Agarwal had done a number of times when he met a sadhu who mentioned something about going abroad to teach Hindu culture. He would ask his son Gopal, an engineer in Pennsylvania, to send back a sponsorship form. When Mr. Agarwal volunteered to help in this way, Bhaktivedanta Swami urged him, please do so. Srila Prabhupada, I did not say anything seriously to Mr. Agarwal, but perhaps he took it very seriously. I asked him, well, why don't you ask your son Gopal to sponsor so that I can go there? I want to preach there. So this looks like an enlightenment of the Lord, that Agarwal meets Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada expresses his desire to go to abroad. Then that person also, Agarwal also, he sends a letter to his son asking him to send a sponsorship form to go to America. So, sometimes, we try to preach someone, to sponsor something, to get something. We can also tell, why don't you sponsor on your wife's name or your parents' name or your son's name? And they feel little attachment towards them, and they do that also, in the memory of you or like that. So they, like Prabhupada is saying here, well, why don't you ask your son Gopal to sponsor so that I can go there? I want to preach there. But Bhaktivedanta Swami knew he could not simply dream of going to the West. He needed money. In March 1965, he made another visit to Bombay, attempting to sell his books. Again, he stayed at the free Dharmashala, Prem Kutir, but finding customers was difficult. He met Paramananda Bhagwani, a librarian at Jai Hind College, who purchased books for the college library and then escorted Bhaktivedanta Swami to a few likely outlets. Mr. Bhagwani, I took him to the popular book depot at Grant Road to help him in selling books, but they told us they could not stock the books because they don't have much sales on religion. Then we went to another shop nearby, and the owner also regretted his inability to sell the books. Then he went to Sadhu Vela near Mahalakshmi temple, and we met the head of the temple there. He of course welcomed us. They have a library of their own and they stock religious books. So we approached them to please keep a set there in their library. They are a wealthy ashrama, and yet he also expressed his inability. Bhaktivedanta Swami returned to Delhi, pursuing the usual avenues of book selling and looking for whatever opportunity might arise. And to his surprise, he was contacted by the Ministry of External Affairs and informed that his no objection certificate for going to the US was ready. Since he had not instigated any proceedings for leaving the country, Bhaktivedanta Swami had to inquire from the ministry about what had happened. They showed him the statutory declaration form signed by Mr. Gopal Agarwal of Butler, Pennsylvania. Mr. Agarwal solemnly declared that he would bear the expenses of Bhaktivedanta Swami during his stay in the US. Srila Prabhupada, whatever the correspondence was there between the father and the son, I did not know. I simply asked him, why don't you ask your son Gopal to sponsor? And now, after 3 or 4 months, the no objection certificate was sent from the Indian consulate in New York to me. He had already sponsored my arrival there for 1 month, and all of a sudden, I got the paper. So, this is nice. At his father's request, Gopal Agarwal had done as he had done for several other sadhus, none of whom had ever gone to America. It was just formality, something to satisfy his father. Gopal had requested a form from the Indian consulate in New York, obtained a statement from his employer certifying his monthly salary, gotten a letter from his bank showing his balance as on April 1965, and had the form notarized. It had been stamped and approved in New York and sent to Delhi. Now, Bhaktivedanta Swami had a sponsor, but he still needed a passport, visa, P-form and travel fare. So all these formalities, and Srila Prabhupada was trying to go to America, Lord is arranging for all these formalities to complete, and one by one the documents were coming, and finally Prabhupada goes to America and preaches Krishna consciousness. So in this way, all those people who helped, supported Prabhupada in his preaching mission, certainly they would have got great blessings. Gopal Agarwal or his father who supported, sponsored for Prabhupada, or the Sally Agarwal in whose house Prabhupada was staying. So all these people, they are really very fortunate at that time to get an opportunity to serve a great sadhu who is on a great mission. And his books are ready, his 3 volumes are ready. His 3 volumes are ready with a trunk full of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first kind of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam books. Prabhupada is ready to go to America. And the dream comes true. What is the dream? The dream is to go to US on the order of his spiritual master. And that comes true. And Prabhupada is writing there. Many sadhus, they took ticket for America, but none of them had gone. We don't know what is the reason, but none of them had gone. And those who had gone, we don't know what happened, how much they were successful. But Prabhupada, he is empowered Acharya. He has gone there, he preached, established Krishna consciousness there, and sent disciples all over the world, and so many centers, so many devotees established. So this shows that he is a very special associate of Lord Krishna in their Leelas. So we all should be feeling very fortunate to be under shelter of Prabhupada, reading his books, being connected to his organization. Prabhupada once said that about going back to Godhead, the disciples, he says that so going back to Godhead, it is so difficult. Until and unless you chant, and you chant pure Krishna's name, and you give up all the desires of sense gratification, you can't go back to Godhead. And all the disciples, they were morose. how they will go back to God. And Prabhupada said, don't worry, just catch my dhoti, I have a back door key. Just catch my dhoti and come, I have a back door key. I will take you from back door. So that should be our consciousness, that we can never approach Krishna by our own endeavor. It is only by pleasing Srila Prabhupada, following his instructions, reading his books, distributing his books, bringing more and more devotees to his organization, to his society at his lotus feet, and spreading his glories. That's how Prabhupada will be pleased, and then Krishna is pleased. Sometimes we distribute Bhagavad Gitas, Bhagavatams, very nice. We should also make an attempt to give Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta also, distribute Lilamrta. We should push this also. But many times people say, I have Bhagavad Gita, I have Bhagavatam. Then I tell them, you take Lilamrta. Oh, Lilamrta, what is this? This is about all the life story of our founder Acharya. You must read this. So then they take it because they don't have that, they didn't heard about that. So we should make Prabhupada glorious by distributing his books, by distributing his life story, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta, so that everyone knows about this exalted personality, Srila Prabhupada. And their human life becomes successful when they come to know about Prabhupada, about his books. The life is successful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare Krishna.